Shapali, how are you doing? In this video, let's talk about a sensitive subject, and that is, should you charge money for your spiritual service or products as a light worker, coach, life coach, therapist, healer, meditation instructor, whatever. Now the reason why this is so sensitive is because many people still believe that providing a spiritual product or service and charge money for that can be deceptive. So let's talk about that. Another thing is, of course, is that most light workers don't really like to charge money for their services and that sort of things. And why that is also what I will explain to you in this video. Now let me sort out my microphone a little bit. Hope that is better. So why is it that we don't like to charge money for our services? Let's say that you are right now at the point where you can call yourself a professional at what you do. First of all, back in the days where we used to live in tribes, the healer was of course always the center of the, not the center of the storm, but the center of the village. And the hunters who were out there hunting for food always brought back food for the tribe, and of course the healer was also able to benefit from that. In exchange, of course, that the healer was making sure that everybody stayed healthy. So if someone came back with a broken leg, the healer made sure that the person were able to walk again. If the person had emotional problems, then the healer would make sure that that person would get rid of his emotional problems. So the thing is, there was always like an exchange. The hunters came back for food, the healers were taking care of the hunters. Now we don't really live in that age anymore. Now we as healers, as light workers, we need to, make sure that we can provide for ourselves. Because we do live in a world where, of course, everything requires money and exchange of value in order to trade for goods and services. For how long that will exist, no one knows. Again, check out my video about, is capitalism another form of religion? Do we want to believe in that? Yes or no? So another thing is, recently I had a little bit of a discussion with a guy who posted on comments on an advert from another spiritual service provider, who said something like, why should I pay money for a spiritual service? That is very deceptive. Now let's talk about that. Because a lot of people, they know the price of everything, but the value of nothing. And what I mean with that is that on a daily basis, we spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money at stuff we don't need, that doesn't contain any form of value, and yet we have decided that contains value, therefore we spend our money on it. It's quite funny, right? When you take it even further at a scientific level, if you really dive into, let's say, quantum physics, and you're really going to study the atom, the molecule, and you dive even deeper, even to the smallest particle, you discover that even at the smallest particle, if you go even further and even deeper, you discover and you notice that the cell doesn't really contain anything. It's empty. That's why, we accumulate material things, and once we have accumulated, we feel a sense of, accomplishments, and we get a sense of joy and satisfaction, and then it fades away. Why? Because material things are at the center really, really empty. Yet that's what we value most right now in this world. But then when we invest in a spiritual service, that could change our psyche, that could change our psychology, that could change our emotional state of being, that could change our entire energy system, for example, that could change our entire reality, our perception of the world, the way we see ourselves and how we stand in the world and where do we believe we belong in this world. That could change everything. It could change our entire life. We say it's deceptive, so I don't really get it. That's really about, what is it that we really, really value? Do we value accumulating material things, and once we die, we leave all the material things here and we move up and take our soul to another plane? Or do we take our soul that has evolved? Do we take the soul with us that has actually evolved? Where we don't have to descend anymore here at this plane, but where we can ascend maybe at another star system, who knows, and do our duty and live our purpose over there. We can only make that happen right now in this time and day and age to really pay attention to our spiritual evolvement. So that's a funny thing about what we say about, paying for a spiritual service is deceptive. And I kind of get that. I understand why people say that, because, I also was at the time where I said, why should I invest all my time and money in my own spiritual development if I don't really get any, any kind of monetary value out of it. It's not like, okay, you invest money in a business course and then you learn yourself new skills and now you can put yourself out in the marketplace. That is going to make you more money. When you invest in a spiritual development service, you don't really have that. Also, it's more like, a lot of the things you can spend your money on is like, okay, if you do this, then you will get that. So it's very linear, which our rational mind can really wrap his mind around it. It can understand, it can make common sense. But investing in a spiritual service moves way beyond rationality. So it's not really like, okay, if you do this, then you will get that. No, not at all. You tap into your multidimensional aspect of yourself. And that's not really something that we are quite used to. We're not really used to this whole exploration. We are pioneers. We're exploring new stages of consciousness. It's like where Columbus went off on his ships and explored America a few hundred years ago. Now we are at the same kind of explorations inside ourselves, explorations of our minds, our spirit, of our soul, explorations of our own consciousness. Where there's no really such thing like an instant benefit. Could be, again, change of your beliefs. So that's really something to think about, that you as a consumer are going to invest in a spiritual service. But now, let's say you have done that enough and you have evolved enough, and now you can say, now I can actually be of value to others. Now I can provide a service. Again, what is that you value? So get clear on your own values. Second, can you communicate these values to others so they can understand the value of what it is they are going to invest in and see the benefit of it? And again, of course, do you value yourself? Do you see yourself worthy enough of getting something in return? And I get that, because what gives us most satisfaction and fulfillment is, of course, of being of service and making a positive impact and making a contribution to the world. That is really what gives us satisfaction and fulfillment. So why do we still need to charge money for it, right? Well, it's just another extra. It's just another piece of fruit on the cake. But what's most important is that we can enjoy the cake, right? The satisfaction, the fulfillment. So it's really about, getting clarity on your own values. What is it that you value? Can you communicate these values so people can see the value in it and understand why they should invest their precious time and money in it? And where I am right now today is to create some sort of a movement, and of course, keeping in touch with my own values and make sure that I keep communicating my own values to others. Right, where am I? All right, I think I need to go that way. Anyway, hope you saw some value in this. Please let me know, leave your comments below, and I look forward to see you in one of my next videos. Take care for now, bye bye.